place. It is absolutely stunning. Thanks for choosing to watch the video. In this one we are tench fishing again, and we're on this really big pond. It's the first time I've ever fished it. It's been on my radar for a while. I can't quite believe I've not been here because it is absolutely stunning. So we're fishing flatbed feeders just with wafters, using the krill and squid and 2mm pellets. I'll go through all that obviously, but for now I'm going to sit down and relax and hopefully see if those tench come along. A bit like I said in the intro. Right, I don't know if you can hear that, I'm getting loads of liners. There's a lot of rudd in here. I started on maggots, oh my God. Yeah, they came off fairly quickly. Go. Loads of these out there, absolutely tons of them. I went the 8mm wafters, and we're picking up, we aren't picking up the rudd now, but we are getting loads of liners from them. They're plaguing me a bit at the moment, so I think we're going to have to make some changes maybe. Right, I need to go to the car and get something that's got bigger items in it. There's just so many rudd in the swim. But I'm going to need, you know, these 2mm must be getting absolutely mopped up on. So I'm going to put some 6mm pellets in, maybe a little bit of corn if we've got it. Just bulk out the mix a bit. Got some bigger food items to combat these rudd. Hopefully we will. The tench will get a look in now. I'm going to switch from the 8mm wafters to the 10mm, which I don't do very often, but I think they'll sit more snug in the band, and of course it's a bit larger as a bait and might combat some of those rudd trying to have a go at it. If that fails, I might put on a pellet O, and I might even step up to a double, 2 pellet O's if I need to, and I will hair rig them on, not band them on. So I have got more up my sleeve if that doesn't work, but the main challenge at the moment is trying to combat these rudd, make sure the bait's available when those tench come along. Unbelievable. I'd just taken the GoPro off so I could put a long sleeve jumper on. And I was putting the jumper on and the rod ripped off, of course it did. But that's all right, never mind. First from a new venue. So very happy with that. So very happy with that. Out the blue, a tench, over the moon, lots of little bites from the rudd, little indicators, just ignoring them, waited for it to rip off, and it did. Unfortunately, didn't have a GoPro on because I happened to be putting my long sleeves on because the sun's gone in a bit now. Yeah, as soon as I took the GoPro off, sure enough, the rod ripped off. I should apologise, I bet there's loads of wind noise through the mic. Such an open, large slab of water this. I can see filming is going to be a little bit tricky with the wind and everything. Yeah, really pleased to get our first tench, especially from a new venue. Nice fish, get the rod back out. These are right next to each other, these rods. Could have done with being a bit to the left. In fact, I'm going to move it a bit left. If you're not happy with it, give it a recast. I know it's faff, but do it anyway. Let's quickly go through exactly what I'm using. I'm using the 12-foot XTND in a 175. I want a slightly stiffer rod. It's a big lake. It's quite, you know, I'm doing about 14 wraps here. So not huge distances, but you know, reasonable with the wind coming in my face as well. So a stiffer rod is helping me reach with ease. I have got a Zealous reel on the reel. I've got a 10-pound line. The feeder I'm using is the inline method feeder, the new one with a camo bead, and I've just tied up my own short rig, and it's what, 4 inches long. It's 8-pound smoke screen, and it's got a size 10 penetrator hook, and there what you can see is actually a trimmed down wafter boilie. I ended up having to go to that because of these rudd. When I was using like a banded wafter with the bands around them, they were just picking them off. So what I've done, I had some wafters in my bag, just some sort of 15mm boilie. I had to trim those down. That's what I've ended up using on the hair, and now these rudd, they can't get this off. You know, I kept reeling in and they'd managed to get my banded hook baits off. So yeah, that's done the trick. So I'm taking the mould, I'm just putting the hook bait in the feeder mould. I'm then filling that up with the sticky krill pellets, and yeah, that's basically all that I'm doing. Wrapping it out to 14 wraps, both rods on the same kind of spot. The rods are probably about a rod length apart maybe, and I'm spodding out a reasonable amount of bait just to create that feeding area. Yeah, like I say, out there at 14 wraps. In the mix that I'm actually spodding out into the lake, I've got the krill and squid ground bait, surprise surprise, with 2mm krill pellets. That forms the base. Because of all the small rudd in here though, I've put some larger items in there as well. So I've put some 6mm spicy sausage pellets in there, and a few 8mm ones as well, just to try and make sure that there's something out there for the tench. Because otherwise I think, you know, if I just went with small particles, I think these rudd would clear it out in no time and there'd be nothing there for the tench. Something else that I've done, which is a little bit of a sort of an emergency measure really. What I did, ran to the cart and I got some 8mm pellets. They're the biggest pellets that I got with me. Now ideally I'd like to scald these, but I've not got a kettle with me. I'm travelling fairly light. You know, I haven't got anything like that. So all I did was I got a bag, like this bag, and I put a bit of water in it, and I put the pellets in the bag, and then put a load of air in it, and then just left it for a couple of hours. I was wanting to use them sooner, but I couldn't. So after a couple of hours, they started to go soft. They started to go, you know, not really soft, but soft enough for them to bind onto a feeder. So I started putting them on the feeder, as well as the small 2mm krill pellets. And what happens is when you press these really hard into the feeder, they almost sort of congeal together into a big lump. But at least it meant that I've got some attraction out there on the feeder, some attraction that's not being mullered by the rudd. These pellets, 8mm, they're too big for the rudd. And yeah, they're just making sure that I have got some attraction around my hook bait. What I am finding is that I'm often getting bites after a recast, so I've started to cast more frequently. That is not a rudd. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Having a pull. Very happy. It's quite heavy. Come on. Get out there with the net. Oh, is that nice about standing out in the water? Feels heavy. Feels very heavy. Nice. Coming in nicely. In you come, smashing. Oh, that's a bit more controlled. Awesome. Lovely. Here we go. Didn't miss this one on the GoPro. There we are. Lovely. And another lovely tinker. We've got a nicer one. Here we go, look at him. Don't know what he weighs, but he's a nice fish. Lovely colours on him. Having to ignore all the little indications from the rod. I'm waiting for it to tear off with one of these. Yes, what a beautiful evening. Wind has now dropped and it is stunning out here. Stunning, perfect. Bob on. That is a bit easier once this wind has, now this wind has dropped. Much easier to get them on the spot. So it has gone very quiet since that flurry of action that we had. I should have said that I only got here at about midday-ish, maybe 1 o'clock, and we did have a flurry of action an hour or so after getting here. But then it has gone quiet. It's gone quiet for a couple of hours now. Some of that I was fishing with no hook baits. And you know, with the new, oh, just done another liner. And with a new venue, obviously, I wasn't to know that these rudd are going to pluck these baits out of the bands. So, yeah, you live and learn. But I put that right about sort of 45 minutes ago. But I haven't had a take. But I am confident, at least, that I'm still fishing now. Yeah, it's only a short session, so yeah, started at about midday. It's coming up for 5:30, so it feels like the evening spell. I'm expecting big things. I've got the rigs right now, so hopefully as we go into the evening, we're going to have a couple of fish. Go at these reeds. I assumed that was a rudd. Tightened up and I just sort of stared at it for ages. But it isn't. It is a tench. Cracking. Oh, he's quite a nice one as well. Yeah, he's a heavy one. So I really did think that was another rudd. It's not, it's actually a really nice tench. Cracking. Well, I'm getting liners on the other rod, but we are coming to the end of what is a tricky afternoon, but look, very happy with him. It's been a real learning curve on a new venue, this one. I've made some changes. I'll know what to do next time. And yeah, very, very happy. Okay, well, I think that's me done. I've had a few tench there. It has only been sort of an afternoon into evening session. I've learnt a lot to put into the next session here. I have got the rods out still and I'm getting liners, but I'm going to bring them in shortly and go, I think. But I have learnt a lot, yeah, to take into the next session. I'm not going to use bands around my wafters. They need hair rigging on properly because otherwise the rudd are going to nick them. I'm not sure about the spodding. I'm not sure if that's worked particularly well here. It is very shallow. I half wonder if I'd have been better off just using feeders and not using the spod. So maybe that's something that I'll try next time. I think in those feeders, what I was doing in the end, I was using, yeah, like a trimmed down waft of boilie You know, that was definitely going to stay on the hair. I was then putting in the sticky 2mm pellets into the feeder, but I was also putting in some soaked 8mm pellets into that feeder and pressing it really hard. Mainly because, again, I just wanted to try and make sure there was something around that hook bait that wasn't getting demolished by the rudd. But anyway, that's my session. I'm done. I'm making a move home now. Thanks for checking it out again. If you enjoyed it, make sure that you subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Wading out into the lake. Look at it. This place is absolutely stunning.